All right, for today's TED Talk assignment and presentation, I watched a TED Talk on the effects of humor, written or done, not written, done by Jennifer Aker and Naomi Bagdonis. So without further ado, let's get into it, huh? Alrighty. Um, so Naomi Bagdonis and Jennifer Aker, there's pictures of them just to put a face to a name. Naomi Bagdonis is a corporate strategist and designer. She basically straddled business and improv comedy, so she has a background both in business and in humor. So she has a little bit of credibility there. So does Jennifer Aker because she's a behavioral strategist and she studied what actually creates happiness in life versus what we actually think. Those can be two very different things. Together, they both teach at Stanford Business School. They teach a humor business class. Basically, the interesting part is this class has the same amount of credits as the financial accounting class in that at that same place. Both of them are on a mission to bring humor back, and they both gather data, talk to comedians and leaders all about humor, just to figure out how humor affects people when somebody is a leader. Again, it's the power of leadership within their presentation. One of the things that they said is that the power of leadership is very underappreciated. It needs to happen more, and it doesn't happen enough. To prove this, they showed a study and they asked, "Did you smile today?" They showed a graph then, and in the earlier years of people's life when they're a kid, it's very, very high that people smile and laugh a lot of the time in days. But as soon as they go into the workforce, it drops significantly. It doesn't go back up until about 80 years old. The only problem with this is that life expectancy is only around 78, so it doesn't make it very fun. One person that has really realized this and done a good job is Connor Demon Human, and they interviewed him, and he says that he leaves his shared screen on purpose when they has meetings with people with his workers, and he goes into Google and types into the search bar. He looks up CEO inspirational things to say during a hard time. This usually makes people laugh and they love it, and it just makes them calm and relaxed. He's very, very effective, and this is proven with another statistic that leaders are 27% more motivational when they have a sense of humor, making them just easier to listen to and easier to work for. Part of this is probably because they you can connect more with laughter. When you laugh, you release a bunch of endorphins and stuff to just be better and like it mentally is better for you. Some of the things, the endorphins that are released are the same as meditation, exercise, and even a weird one is having sex. It's the same endorphins. So in your brain, you ultimately are meditating, exercising, and having sex anytime you laugh. So I mean, all those three together, I think it's pretty good. But yeah. So another problem that people see is the humor versus professionalism, because a lot of people want to be very professional in the workplace, but don't want to add a lot of humor into it. They proved this wrong by one person, the Secretary Albright. Secretary Albright was the Secretary of the State Department when the Russian government bugged the U.S. State Department. She went into a meeting and she had a bug pin on her jacket. It was not very small; it was actually very big. The Russian guy was laughing, smiling, she said, and the energy in the room shifted and changed the conversation entirely. This is just a small example of how humor can change a little bit of the conversation and change the energy. And within this professionalism, it's not about you being funny. A lot of the times when we try to be funny, we try to bring people down and making jokes towards other people. But that's not how it's supposed to work in a professionalized, professional environment. It's not bringing down, and it's also a matter of how close you are to that subject. Some people are very sensitive to mom and dad jokes. So I've experienced that personally. Another thing is start small. Humor is ultimately a choice with small and big moments. So if you don't really know where to start, start small, and then eventually you can have a balance of professionalism and humor. Ultimately, their whole presentation was to make joy and laughter come more easily. They say this because joy and laughter connects more people. And when it connects more people, you can have more fun and laugh a lot more. Um, but they also say this because, as we learned in a few slides earlier, that humor releases endorphins of love in ways that we can connect to people and we can share experiences and get closer to people. So ultimately, where humor exists, love is not far behind. And wouldn't we all want to live in a place where there's a little bit more humor, a little bit more joy, and a little bit more love? And that's all.